Country Sports, brought to you by South Texas Orthopedics. I'm your host, Chris Filateo, and in this episode, we will break down the first week of the season. Well, we start with looking at Pleasanton after the Eagles defeated San Antonio Edison 13-7 on the road. Pleasanton rushed for 225 yards last week, as Anthony Leal led with 160 yards off of 28 carries. The Eagles host Lanier this week for the first game of the year. Lanier was shut out by Central Catholic 30-0 in its season opener. Here at Pleasanton High School with head coach Tab Dumont. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good.
Well, you guys have Lanier at home this week. What's their offensive formation, Coach?
Offensively, they like to spread the ball out. They'll get trips and doubles. They'll also bring a fullback and a tight end in the game and run some pro sets too.
Now, how do they line up defensively?
Defensively, they showed us a 50 defense, 3-4 with the cover 4 in the secondary. And they've got a good defensive line and some good linebackers.
Now, you guys, in the past two games that you played Lanier, you scored 42 points in each game and held them to 13 points total in those two games. How is that going to kind of transition into this season?
I hope we can score 42 points. You know, this is a different year, different ball club, so you really can't compare.
Now, what's going to be your main focus in practice this week?
We're trying to get better. Offensively, we moved the ball really well up and down the field. We just didn't stick it in the end zone. So when we get down there in the red zone and the scoring opportunities, we need to stick it in the end zone this week. Defensively, we're just trying to build off the success that we had last week, working on getting to the ball when we get there, having an attitude, and wrapping up and tackling well.
Great. Well, good luck on Friday, Coach.
Thank you.
Next, the Indians host Hondo this week after beating Poteet 27-0 to start the season. Jourdington tallied 335 total offensive yards, while the Tribe rushed by committee with 3 different players scoring a touchdown. Brandon Davis led with the Indians with 90 yards off of 6 touches, while senior Alex Oedo added 10 carries for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hondo lost to Bernie last week 38-22 in its season home opener. The last time the two schools faced each other was back in 1991 when Jourdington crushed Hondo 36-16. Here in Jourdington High School with head coach Daryl Andrus. How are you doing today, Coach?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good.
Well, you started off the season well with a great win against Poteet. Now you come home against Hondo. How do they line up offensively?
Well, Hondo's going to be a little more spread. They're in the shotgun quite a bit. 2-back gun, 1-back gun. Good team. They got some good skilled kids that we're definitely going to have to try to contain.
And on the defensive side, how do they line up?
They're running a combination of a 4-3 with 2 high safeties and a little bit of what we'll call an 80, a split defense with 1 high safety. They're bounced back and forth. I expect to see, against our 2-back stuff anyways, most likely an 80 front with an 8-man front, basically with 1 high safety. But you never know. You know, people defend. You know, may feel they have a different matchup here or there that's better for them. And, I think, though, most likely we'll see some form of 8-man front with the way we ran the ball last week.
Now, will that lead you to maybe some play action or screens or other passing opportunities?
Yeah, you know, we're going to count the box. You know, that's what our offense is designed to do. And if we're seeing a lot of 8-man front, we can still run it or try to run it, which we will to stay balanced. But, you know, if they put 8 in there, you got to be able to take advantage of it. And that's what we've been working on since January. And you know, I think, I guess the play action maybe not so much, more the quick game. We'll play action some on 3rd down if we feel like it's there, but most likely it'll be the quick game, some of our cut routes. You know, and I'd really like to see the triple option continue to get better. We started getting it going a little bit in the second half on Poteet, and that was good, something to build on. So hopefully that'll give them something to work, Hondo something to work on this week in practice. You know, just continue to try to build on what we've been doing, and if they stack 8, maybe even 9 in the box, we got to be able to throw the ball.
Now, going off of last week's win, what will you take from that going into Friday's game?
I think just overall was the effort of the team. You know, everybody got to play, everybody was positive. You know, the first game, everyone's excited, both teams, so we knew Poteet would come out and give us everything they had. It's just that time of year, everybody was ready for that first game. Like I think we talked about a couple interviews back, and I was just proud of the way the kids' effort stayed there the whole game. And we got stronger, I felt, as the game progressed. We've been really conditioning these kids hard in the weight room and obviously running. And I was just proud of the way it seemed like we got better as the game went on. We still had those penalties mixed in throughout the game that I felt hurt us. But some two or three times we had big penalties. We were able to overcome them. and convert third downs, and you know, we went on 2 80-yard drives there, which a lot of positives. I just think the number one thing we got to do is clean those penalties up this week. We can't have drive-killing penalties against Hondo. They'll beat us if we do that.
Well, great. Thanks so much. Good luck on Friday, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank
In
you.
Poteet, the Aggies traveled to Robstown in search for their first win of the season. Poteet fell to Jordanton last week 27-0, but the Aggies remained determined while preparing for Robstown. The Cotton Pickers lost to Orange Grove last week 42-6 for their first game of the season.
Well, here in Poteet High School with head coach Doug Foster. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Good morning. Good to see you.
Well, you know, first game of the season, going into week 2, played at home the first week. Here we go into Robstown. Let's go and jump right into it. How do they line up offensively, Coach?
They're more of a spread team. They do a little bit of two-back gun, but they're always in a gun formation, 1-back, 2-back, and they do some pretty good things, really.
Now, defensively.
They're in a 50. I guess more of a 3-4, but they're going to have, versus us, we'll have a tight end, so they'll probably have 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers.
Now, what's the biggest concern going into Friday for you?
Elimination of errors. You know, we had, I think that we had some costly errors. We did some good things, but the errors offensively in terms of our offsides, jumping offsides, snap count was a little bit errant at times. Some mental mistakes is what cost us. Defensively, we didn't do a good job of tackling. So, yeah, I think if we rectify those 2 big glaring problems, I think we should see more success this week.
Now, this is the first of 2 next road games. How important is it to get a win this Friday?
I don't know. You know, always I think it's important to win, but I think it's not as important to win as it is to show improvement, because we always want to make sure we're moving forward so that when we get to district, we're the best we could be. And so we want to win, I think, as much as anybody, coaches, players, the community. But as long as we move up from where we were this past week, I think number 1, we'll give ourselves a chance to win, and number 2, we're making progress toward what our true goal is to make the playoffs.
Great. Well, good luck on Friday, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we go to Charlotte, where the Trojans host San Antonio St. Gerard. Charlotte opened the season with a convincing 42-20 road victory over San Marcos Baptist Academy last week. Trojan running back Richard Blankenship led the ground attack with 170 yards off of 20 carries and 2 touchdowns in the victory. It's St. Gerard's first game of the season, while the Trojans strive for their 2nd straight win to start the year.
We're in Charlotte High School with head coach Jerry Dominguez. How are you doing today, Coach? Well, pretty convincing victory to start off the season last week. Now you come back home for the first home game of the season. How does Gerard line up offensively?
They're pretty much like a double slot, a wing team. They don't run the football. They don't throw the ball very often. So basically what I've been telling the kids this week is that we got to stop the run. In order to do that, you got to do that in high school football period, stop the run. And if they're throwing the ball in the 3rd or 4th quarter, then we've done our job.
So there's going to be a lot of man in motion, a lot of obviously running like you just said. How are you going to focus on that this week in practice?
We'll just read our keys. This is what I tell our kids. If we do what we're supposed to do and read our keys, anything that happens in the backfield doesn't, really shouldn't affect us. And so if our kids are disciplined and do what they're coached to do, we'll be okay.
Now, what's their defensive formation, Coach?
Their defense is 3-4, 50 front. They don't move a lot. They don't adjust with their backers a lot. Offensively, what we're going to do is we're going to try to pound the football, throw the ball a little bit more. But all in all, I think if we do what we're supposed to do on that side of the football, we should be okay also.
Now, you won by more than 3 touchdowns last week. What corrections, if any, will you work on this week in practice?
There's always something to work on. Defensively, we got to work on our tackling. Offensively, continue to get better and more consistent with what we're doing. And also with our special teams, Coach Rommel's doing a great job with our special teams this year, and it's become a focal point for us. So, and we gave up a touchdown on kickoff, and he's kind of corrected that this week also. So there's always something to improve on week by week, especially, we don't want to plateau on week 1. We want to continue to climb and get better.
Now, what are you going to tell the kids going into the right before kickoff in the locker room?
Just get after it, play hard, play fast, and see what happens.
Great. Well, good luck on Friday, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this episode of Inside Brush Country Sports, brought to you by South Texas Orthopedics. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter for the latest scores of your favorite area teams at PE1909. You can join the conversation at #MyBCSports. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the PE1909 for future episodes. Now, we are also asking you to show us our game face on Friday nights. You can submit a photo of your game face by posting it to our Facebook page, tweeting at PE1909, or tagging us on Instagram. You must use the hashtag BCSGameFace in order to qualify. We will select one photo and feature it on our webcast each week. Thanks for watching. Signing off, I'm Chris Filteo.